Hi.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm Wendy Rose Williams, and I'd like to welcome you to the Waking Up Spiritually podcast. We're so glad you're here joining us, and with my co host, Gregg Kirk. And I am a past life energy healer. What that means is I have the privilege and the ability to help you release energy that does not serve you anymore, be it chronic pain, both physical or emotional, stuck anxiety, stuck depression, and just that energy that you cannot figure out how to lift so that you can really enjoy your life and feel your life has purpose and feel as healthy as possible in your body and happy. My website is wendyrosewilliams.com, and I do offer complimentary group Zoom calls on an ongoing basis. So you're so welcome to sign up, register at no cost for one of those at wendyrosewilliams.com. And I'll turn it over to Gregg to introduce himself and today's topic. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, I'm Gregg Kirk. I'm an energy worker, advocate for Lyme disease patients. I help other patients with chronic illnesses. I run a website called and a clinic in Connecticut called LymeRecoveryClinic.com. Also do online group healing circles every Sunday afternoon at 2:00 East Coast time. And just last Saturday did a fire circle in a lovely part of Sacred Ground in Connecticut. Which is a healing circle with fire. We're not in the fire, we're around the fire. So we do that. And then, so I help also one-on-one patients. I do that remotely or in person. And so please come to my website, greggkirk.com. It's spelled GREGGKIRK.com. Click on the request an appointment link, or just click on the events tab to see if there might be an event going that you can attend. Would love to have you come check out what's going on. So today, Wendy and I, because of the success of the last one we did, we're doing part 2 or installment 2, edition 2, second edition of Spiritual Myth Breakers. So let me get this going on the screen share.
And while Gregg does that, let me invite you to visit wakingupspiritually.com, which is our website. And there you'll find all of the podcasts, and it's a visual podcast. Of course, you're so welcome. And we so appreciate you listening via the podcast apps and just subscribing to us there or to our YouTube channel. But you can also go to wakingupspiritually.com and look through and find a topic or multiple topics to be of help to you. We've done a lot of them with tips and techniques and with meditations and those sorts of things. So that's something that we're offering to you.
Yeah, we're also on YouTube as well. So go to YouTube and do a search for Waking Up Spiritually, and then include one of our names, either Wendy's name or my name. I found that if you just do a search for Waking Up Spiritually, we don't come up right away. So use either of our names plus Waking Up Spiritually, and you'll see all of our videos there. And
Perfect.
another thing you can do, and I don't want to get too sidetracked, but another thing you can do on the website on wakingupspiritually.com is we have a search tab. So click on that tab, type in any word you want. And at this point, we've got 3 years worth of episodes. I'm sure we've covered something that of interest to you if you are waking up spiritually.
So searchable by topic, in other words. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can also join us on Facebook in our Waking Up Spiritually group. And that's where we podcast live, typically on the second Monday of the month, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time for me, 5:30 p.m. Eastern for Gregg. So whatever your time zone might be.
Yes. All right. First topic. So again, just a recap of what we do here for Spiritual Myth Breakers. It's kind of like a homage to the show Mythbusters. It was one of my favorite shows, which they would take a topic and really do experiments on it and discover whether or not this myth, can you fill a boat with ping pong balls and have it rise to the surface, or Hollywood myths of that you've seen on TV. Can you really bend a bullet by twisting a gun? Can you make it shoot around a corner? These kind of things. They really did it. We're doing it with spiritual things. So we're taking topics that you probably heard of, and really, you'll see what we do. We analyze them as best we can, pulling from facts that we've pulled from, the internet and other things, as well as our own experiences. So without further ado, let's do
I'd like to start with an energy clearing and blessing for everyone, or would you like to do it this time, Greg?
No, please.
Okay, all right, very good. What we're going to do is the thank you angels clearing prayer, and you're welcome to just relax, just get comfortable in your seat or wherever you are. This is not something you want to do while you're driving, so save it. Go back to the recording if you were driving. But I'm going to call on the angels and ask the angels to please clear and ground our energy and uplift us all. I'm going to do that 3 times. Comes through a little bit differently every time. It's organic because it's designed for whoever the listeners will be. And I just think it's amazing that the angels and the ascended masters, I just know who that's going to be. So thank you, angels, for sweeping your nets up through the core of Mother Earth, through everyone's physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional bodies, taking everything with you that does not serve us, any energy that's not ours, any energy we've outgrown, any energy that's ours in combination with someone else's. Please take it up to the light for healing now, bringing down more alignment with purpose, allowing us to enjoy and discover our purpose in the best possible ways and to be able to live that to the best of our ability. Thank you for bringing down more peace. Thank you for bringing down more love, more joy, the highest vibrational energies so that we can enjoy those and live those and radiate those out to others. Thank you, angels, for sweeping your nets through everyone's home and property, taking with you anything that does not serve the people or the pets, the animals, and Mother Nature herself at our various homes and properties. Please take anything with you that does not serve the inhabitants or frequent visitors. We so appreciate our homes being wonderful sanctuaries, places of safety that we can rest, relax, enjoy, have a lot of laughter. And please help take anything from the homes and properties that is not in alignment with our purpose and with that highest vibrational energy. Thank you. Thank you. One more time. Thank you, angels, for sweeping your nets up through our emotions. Yes, we've got to really feel it to heal it, but we can find efficient ways to do so. I'm talking 30 to 60 to 90 seconds to really feel that emotion that is no longer serving us, be it anger, frustration, pain, short-temperedness, exhaustion, whatever it might be, those very human emotions that we come here to experience. Please, once we have experienced them and we've balanced up our energy, balanced up our divine masculine and feminine energy one more time, and just are ready to let go of that, please take it from our field, send it down our grounding cords, helping us get more grounded, more in our bodies, more in the now moment, more on the planet, sending it down to a gracious Mother Earth who will take it and transmute those emotions that no longer serve us and turn it into something wonderfully useful. I often see her turn it into fish food for hungry fish, which I think is pretty great. So thank you, angels. It is done. So be it.
Thank you. I can feel that.
You're welcome. Oh, wonderful. And you're welcome to just come gently, gently, safely, safely back to your body. Just take your time, take a moment. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. You'll be wonderfully grounded and clear in your energy and have had your energy blessed. So thank you for taking a moment to do that.
Hey, Wendy, thanks again. Our first topic today is a topic that some people, well, I think you heard this. Wendy,
This is a fantastic one. It's not safe to astral travel. I hear this a lot. I'm so glad you chose this one, Greg.
Yeah. The idea is you could get lost or attacked by negative beings if you astral travel, so don't do it. Okay, let's discuss.
Yes.
So, what is astral travel? It can be described or divided into two categories. There's the out-of-body experience that is very well described by any of Robert Monroe's books, Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and what's the final one? Ultimate Journeys. Any of his books have journeys in them because he's traveling all over the place, leaving the earthly plane with his consciousness. Now, what's the difference between that and then there's astral projection, or some people can even do something called remote viewing. So let me just real quickly get into that. An out-of-body experience is a very conscious experience where you pull your consciousness out of your body. You can actually view your body below you. If you can see this video that we're recording right now, there is a silvery cord that attaches to your consciousness, much like, well, there's not flowers and vines on them like in this, or maybe some people have them. I don't know. But you're attached to a cord when you come where it's attached to your physical body. So your consciousness looks like you. It's a glowing version of you, and it's attached. This is the way Robert Monroe describes it. And he created the Monroe Institute. I think they're in Virginia, and they've been teaching people to do this, for decades. So that's out of body. What is astral projection? Astral projection is something that I do where you go into a meditative state and you project your consciousness, staying in your body, to the astral plane, to different areas, to the energetic world where I can see other people's energy bodies. I can view other people's places. I've taken a remote viewing class by Gerald O'Donnell. PM me if you're interested in that, where you can also, in your conscious mind, get into a meditative state and put your point of focus on a physical area on the earth, or in time, or in or off-world. There's people who are very good at this. And I was friends with somebody who was actually hired by the CIA to do this for a while until he didn't like doing it anymore. So this is something that is a real thing called remote viewing, where it's a little different than the astral projection, where you take your consciousness and you kind of you feel everything. But well, actually, remote viewing is very similar. I want to correct myself there. Remote viewing and astral projection are pretty much very, very, very similar. So anyway, knowing that, is this a safe thing to do? The topic today is it's not, and I'll just weigh in real quickly here. I believe that astral travel or out-of-body experiences is like leaving your house, right? So are you afraid to leave your house because you might get attacked? Now, can you get attacked if you leave your house? Absolutely. But do you take any precautions, when you leave your house? Do are you safe when you get in your car? Do you try to make sure that these bad things don't happen to you? Can bad things happen to you when you leave your house? Yes, every day they can. But does that keep you in your house? Do you become an agoraphobic person who is frightened just to leave your own, the four walls of your house? So to me, that's the same idea. So if you take precautions with astral travel or out-of-body experiences, by reciting protection rituals, similar to what Wendy did here, asking for protection from certain guides and beings who have your best interest in mind, and approaching this endeavor with positivity and without fear, because I'll tell you this, that fear can attract
things to fear.
It attracts, it's like, and there's certain beings that actually feed off of fear, so they love it when you're afraid. These are ways to avoid, consciously and carefully and safely any bad things happening. And so if you want to read about this, I would recommend Robert Monroe's first book, Journeys Out of the Body, where he did get attacked when he first had an out-of-body experience. And he talks about what he did. Now, obviously, he did nothing ultimately bad happened to him, but he noticed that when he fought certain beings that were trying to make him afraid, that it was the like attracts like. So he would get into these skirmishes with these negative beings, but when he stopped fighting them and he raised his vibration, he noticed he didn't have any trouble after that. So that said, if you do embark in these endeavors, astral travel or out-of-body experiences, and something does happen, something attaches to you, or you have an attack where you feel like something needs to be corrected or removed or whatever, I recommend consulting a trusted energy worker. And luckily you've got two of them right here on this broadcast who have done these kinds of removals and protections and repairs and healings, if anything, does happen. I just would say approach this like you would leaving your house, with caution and with carefulness, and without foolhardiness and without fear. And then just one last thing, the thing is, you might get attacked. The other part of the statement in the beginning was you might get lost. Well, real quick story that Robert Monroe discusses in in the first book, where apparently you can't get lost because you're attached to your body. If you have an out-of-body experience, you get pulled back. So he described a situation where he didn't want to come back. He found an area, he said it felt very heaven-like. It was very beautiful. He heard these choruses of voices and these lights that were just fantastic. And he thought, why would I go back to Earth after having this lovely experience? And he felt these arms and hands pulling back, and he felt himself being tugged by his silver cord. So he got pulled back into his body, and he actually went into a little bit of a depression afterwards because it was he felt homesick, he said.
Like can happen after a near-death experience. If someone's told it's not your time,
Yes.
it is pulled back to their body and into their life.
Yes. So he actually did something kind of funny. He had a pool in his backyard, and he put colored lights in his pool that kind of imitated some of the lights that he saw, and he would float face down in his pool to recreate the experience. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it bothered him for a while. But it just goes to show he had a purpose and some more things to do in this lifetime on Earth, but he didn't get lost. and that was a situation where he wanted to be lost, and he wanted to stay there, but you have other things going on, and your guides will pull you back. So you won't get lost in astral travel. You won't. Yeah, I mean, you can. Yes, you might. There might be an attack that happens, but as long as you're careful, and as long as you have access to a trusted energy worker who can help you if there is anything that goes awry, it's like leaving your house. There's no reason not to leave your house as long as you take the proper precautions. So Wendy, what
I agree. I just think of it as a best practice, just inviting our higher self to be really in our body, and then whatever wonderful way you raise your vibration and frequency, or invoke protection. I think those are really the same thing. It's just like different ways of looking at it.
Right.
Or you ask, a guardian angel to be there, or whoever you most relate to, or your personal guide. And also, I think it's what's the intent? What's the reason of why you're wanting to astral travel? I think that can relate to the outcome of how it goes.
That's a really good point. Like, yeah, what are you trying to do? Is the question. It's like I don't know. I guess some people leave their houses and they go for nice little walks where they don't know where they're going to go. And you could do that, astrally speaking. But yeah, I think it's better to have an intent, to try to visit maybe a person who's passed on, or go to a place to commune with guides. There's just the one thing that I didn't mention here that is a must, is never invite an outside energy source or entity into your consciousness or into your energy field. Don't ever say, come into my consciousness to another being, because you're inviting them to, the trouble can start. Then they can manipulate you.
Well, Greg, you've gone back to the old vampire movies. Never say yes when they're scratching at your window.
Exactly. It's the same rule. Exactly the same rule.
That's kind of based in a good energy practice. How that's done in those movies, because we co-create.
Yes.
We choose what we're going to co-create, and I think that silver cord, it's not only vital for us finding our way home to ourselves, but that's what, when that silver cord is there, that's how we have sustainable life in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when that cord is severed, we're choosing our exit point, we're going on home.
Right.
And that's when that silver cord is no longer intact. People that ask again and again, well, how did Lazarus get raised from the dead in the Bible? Was that really possible? Did Yeshua ben Joseph, did Jesus really raise Lazarus from the dead? And my belief is, yes, he did, because that silver cord was still intact.
Right.
There was still life in the body. He was appearing lifeless, but he was still viable. So Yeshua was able to get his soul, get his spirit back into that body.
Right. Definitely. Okay, so what's our conclusion here, Wendy, on this?
My conclusion is, yes, it is safe with best practices, and again, consider your intent. I chose to astral travel to the Egyptian temple of Isis at Philae because my guides told me to go there. And I had not been able, so I did ask the practical question, do you mean in the physical? Do you mean by a plane ticket?
Right.
And they said, yes, absolutely. But at this point, you're not able to do that. And I knew I had a friend who was going to be traveling to Egypt and through Egypt. And I asked him, could you please go to the Egyptian temple of Isis at Philae? Because there's many Egyptian temples of Isis. And he said, yes. Why? I have a feeling it correlates to a shared past life there. I said, exactly. That's exactly why I'm asking you if you'd be so kind as to go there, if that fits your trip itinerary. And I will meditate and get into a deep state of meditation that day and astral travel there. And let's just be there together, one of us in the physical and one via astral travel. And let's just explore and clean up that past life that we shared there. So we were able to do that. It was very meaningful. And he actually brought back a physical statue of Isis for me from the temple of Isis.
Oh my God, how cool.
Really, really meaningful to me. And it's on my home altar. And yes, I'd love to go there in the physical, but it can be your plane ticket to, appropriately guided astral travel, because we astral travel all the time without realizing it, when we're meditating, when we're sleeping, but we're talking about the conscious type of astral travel. Right.
So our conclusion is it's as safe as anything else, as long as you take the right precautions.
Yes, with, like you said, with no fear and right intent and the right reasons. So
very good.
You can't get lost. You're going to find your way home. You're going to find your way home to yourself.
Right. All right, next one. When you are dying, leaving your physical body, when that mortal coil is snapped, going to the light is a trap. This is something I started hearing in the mid to early 2000s, where people were saying it's a psyop, a psychological operation where people are told to go to the light, but it's a trap. So why? Because your soul will be recycled and you'll be forced to reincarnate. So let's, obviously I'm putting emotion on that and I'm kind of skewed what I think, but all right. So many people who experience near-death experiences report seeing a tunnel of light where their loved ones or religious figures are coaxing them to enter. Is that a trap? Is that a mirage or illusion? Is it really Jesus standing there in the doorway saying, "Come with me," or is it something else? Going to the light seems to be an opportunity to reunite with your soul group and ancestral lineage. So, however, there's people like Alex Collier, who I have a ton of respect for, it talks about something else. It's sort of in between. There's the alarmist report of don't go to the light, it's a trap. But Alex Collier, who is a ET contactee with a race known as the Andromedans, and he's also a channeler, reports that everyone has a choice. This is coming from his guides. Everyone has a choice at the moment of death. And that going to the tunnel of light is stepping back into the reincarnation cycle of Earth, which is fine if you want to do it, but you have a choice. So you have other choices. His guides told him, instead of looking directly at the light, nobody ever turns around to see what's behind them. The rest of the universe is behind you. So, you're a sovereign being. You have free will. You can absolutely go to the light, go through the tunnel. You'll be with your spiritual family. You can decide what your next life is to take. But if you're one of those people who you're tired of this, you're like, this is my last lifetime. It's really heavy here. I'm tired of coming back. You have a choice to do something else. And so you can turn around and look at what's behind you. So that's an interesting perspective. And then just one last thing about this. There are also other people who don't see the light. They are not offered that tunnel of light because of their belief system. Once again, in Robert Monroe's first book of Journeys Out of the Body, he talks of a gray space, completely gray. Every aspect of this area that he went to with an out-of-body experience was gray. And it was for people who did not believe in any afterlife. They didn't believe in any religion or any beings beyond themselves. And he was there and he didn't know what was going on. And then all of a sudden he saw this young woman appear who had died in the 1970s. She was wearing bell-bottom jeans, and her first words were, "Shit, I knew there was no God." So she didn't believe in any God, and this is where you end up, this kind of holding area. Limbo is what people would call it, where eventually other beings will gravitate towards you and help you with, what is it you would like to do next, in a loving way. So, and he also talked about other areas where a belief system is really driving the interaction. So he stumbled upon what looked like a church with all these people singing. It was a church group, and the people there were like, "Oh, Robert, come on in. We're singing the hymns today. The pastor has a really great sermon prepared. Join us." And that was like every day of their past afterlife existence was their church beliefs. Until one day he visited them again, and they said, "Hey, our pastor moved on." So I guess the pastor realized there's something else I can do. So here's where I land on this, and then I would love to hear what you have to say, Wendy. Is you have a choice, when you pass, and it's and first of all, the dying process can, if you can make it not a fearful one, if you can understand that, as Esther Hicks says, the famous channeler Esther Hicks, it can be actually a delicious experience. You're passing, because if you're approaching it without fear, you're leaving a painful body. Usually, let's face it, at the moment of death, you're not in your best health, right? Your things are about as heavy as they've ever been in your life, and usually, you're in a hospital bed or on your deathbed at home, and there's a lot of people around you. They're very sad, and we've heard all these stories. And I've, in my family, of people taking so long to actually die because everybody's there not wanting them to die, keeping them kind of in the physical body. So if you can have a more unencumbered, loving experience, and look up information on conscious deaths or ascended deaths, where
death doulas, people who death midwives, people
yeah.
just like you get born with that assistance, you can die with that assistance.
Yes, absolutely. But there's even some people, there's a meditative practice that you can do at the moment of death, where you can try to hold on to your consciousness as much as possible and take your memories with you. And I've heard of that practices like that, Buddhist practices, yogi practices, fascinating stuff. So there's all kinds of ways you can pass. And when you pass, there's all kinds of things you can do. So if you pass consciously, you're more aware, you're not in shock. Oh my God, I left my body. Where am I? What's going on? You hear of all these confusing near-death experiences that people report. What if you had one where you know what's going on, everything's okay, you're going to a better place, as everybody says, where there's no pain, you have no body holding you down, and you meet these loved ones, some of them who you've had experiences with in this lifetime, lovely people, your ancestral lineage, your angelic guides. I mean, these immense beings of light, they're just radiating love. That sounds amazing to me. What if you had that experience, and then after you kind of got settled, you converse with them, and what's your next step? Do you take another life or no, or do you try something else? I mean, you have choices. That's where I that's where I stand on this. It's not a cut or dried situation. You have a choice to go through the light. I don't believe it's a trap, but you don't have to go there if you don't want to. And I don't believe that's a trap either. Other people have said, oh, well, it's a psyop saying not to go to the light because then you'll just go to hell or something. And I don't believe no. I don't believe that either. So what are your take? What's your take, Wendy?
My take is similar to yours, Greg. Much of what Alex Collier is saying makes sense, but personally, my personal belief, because that's what we're really boiling down to at this point, is what's your personal belief? And that's where it's helpful to hear others, because you can just, sharpen your own saw to think through, what do you feel in your heart? What do you really believe? I believe it's a choice when we pass on to go to the light, and that we then have a free will choice to go from there anywhere. I don't believe we're trapped. I don't believe going to the light means we have to incarnate again on Earth or anywhere else. I personally believe we can choose to stay with the light, or we can choose, I'm going to incarnate from there. I see the light as being source, as being the divine, whatever term you put on it, whatever your belief system is, Mother, Father, God, source, love, the universe, whatever that amazing place is to you. I believe we can choose to incarnate from there to another planet, to another dimension. I don't believe going to the light, stops us from doing that. This is a free will. This is a free will gig. Our souls have free will, and I just see that as being just like gravity. Gravity exists on this planet. Free will also exists. I do agree that people can choose by their own creation to get stuck on Earth as a ghost, to get stuck in a gray space, to go to purgatory, to go to hell. Those are religious conditionings and creations of people who are very frightened and feel they don't deserve to go to heaven, to God, to source energy, anywhere wonderful, amazing, and pleasant. Put your own belief on it. Nirvana, Summerlands, put whatever your belief system is on that, of this amazing, wonderful place. So yeah, I think we're in the same lane here, Greg, but I'm hearing some subtle differences. But if you say to me, don't go to the light because it's a trap, I say that's a bunch of hooey.
Well,
that just does not resonate for me at all.
Right. I think I'm with you 99%, maybe even 100%. I agree that I don't really think that if you go through the tunnel of light that you're stuck, and that's some sort of
I think it's
you've been bamboozled and you get, like a funnel,
right,
get sucked right
right.
back down into earth. I like you, I also believe you've got free will every step of the way, and you can go through that light. And then wherever you end up is going to be in a place of light. You're going to be around beings of light who honor your free will. So
And
if
I
you,
think,
yeah.
yes. I'm sorry, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just finishing up and saying, from there, it's your choice. They're going to help you. So if you decide, oh, I don't want to have another life on Earth. I want to have one somewhere else, or maybe I just don't want to incarnate for a while. I want to roam around. You can do that. Yeah.
Mhm,
Right.
exactly.
I think
And
we're on the same page.
I do want to speak to the level of, I think it goes back to your point, Greg, about what is the death experience like, and what's your vibrational level, and what is your belief system at that point? Because I think that determines a lot what's going to happen immediately afterwards. I think, again, personal belief, I think if you're looking back over your shoulder and you're experiencing strong emotions of regret, upset, outrage, if you've got that going on, I think you're very likely to choose not to go to the light and not realize that you are becoming a ghost, like the young lady in the bell bottoms, stuck since the 70s.
Yeah.
And just, that's, I think, probably the number one thing that is found with ghosts. Ghosts I simply see as energy. There was a free will choice at some point to not move on, to not let go, to not go up to the light, to not go to ascend back home. But at some point, I believe ghosts can become earthbound and stuck to the point where they really need assistance,
Yeah.
because they're just in such a quagmire of guilt or shame or low energy, or just so confused. They just don't have enough oomph to be
Right.
able to go on up and go through the tunnel, take the escalator up, the elevator, whatever it might be. And they need that assistance to let go of those expectations. It's like there's unmet expectations.
Right. They're trying to get something resolved. And many of them have had very sudden deaths, emotional,
Yes,
like in war. I mean, how
yes,
many ghosts from the Civil War are still around,
yes,
haunting these
exactly.
places because they're not aware that they passed on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or
So,
there's just been some major upset, and they're choosing to stay. That's, the haunted castles and the
yeah.
haunted manor homes, etc., where there's been some ghost energy going on for quite a long time, because they just have not they've not chosen to pass on, or just, like I said, they're out of gas, and they just need some assistance. So I've been surprised how many places I've been asked to, by my guides, to help clear ghosts and offer them the choice, because again, it's a respectful free will choice. I do not have the power, nor do I want the power to make anyone go anywhere. That is not my gig.
Mhm.
Uh, but I can offer assistance and see if they want that lift up, because having been stuck personally as a ghost for hundreds of years from my own interesting choice, after wartime, as you said, Greg, in the late 1600s, that really was causing energy issues for me now, to still have that stuck portion of myself.
Right.
Obviously, I have more energy because I'm here again, and I've got energy at home as a higher self. But getting more integrated, more healed, doing that soul retrieval, it changed my life immeasurably when I was able to accomplish that in 2012. And that was part of me being able to heal profound physical and emotional pain. That's just a quick story of someone that chose not to go to the light, and it didn't work out very well for me.
Right.
So maybe I have a bias because of,
Yeah. Well, we're calling this one bunk, and
yes.
yeah, nothing to
Hooey.
do.
I'm
Yep.
throwing down the hooey flag.
Right. Right. All right. Last one for today is an interesting one. The Mandela effect is not real. False memories and suggestibility have created this urban legend. So some of you may know what the Mandela effect is. If you've been on TikTok or any of the social media things, there's all kinds of Mandela effect memes. So what is it? It refers to a situation in which a large mass of people has a strong memory of an event occurring when the physical proof contradicts it. So the term was coined in 2009 by author and paranormal investigator Fiona Broome, after she discovered that she, along with thousands of others, held a strong memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, when he actually died in 2013. So that's kind of strange that all of a sudden all these people remembered him dying, like vividly. So it's not just a group of people, it's massive amount of people. So one explanation for this that I've heard is interesting, that the Hadron Collider, the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is something that was created. It's the world's most powerful particle accelerator that first started operating on September 10th, 2008 at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland. What is this thing? Well, you can see a little picture of it on the left. It's a massive 16-mile long loop that shoots these particles at each other and smashes them together, and it creates this energy surge that a lot of people are getting upset about, because what if it ripped the fabric of time and space on Earth? What if it created a black hole? Well, last experiment I heard is they're trying to create miniature black holes with this, which I don't know if that sounds like a great idea. So if you look at the photograph at the bottom of the right-hand side, this is an actual photograph reported by the UK Sun on June 12th, 2016, on the same day of an LHC experiment at CERN. I mean, it looks like something from a Steven Spielberg movie. Above the LHC is this strange mist. There's rolling lightning and clouds. So the particle acceleration is causing weather to change. And there's many pictures like this. So there's a theory that with this stuff going on, that it's creating timeline differentiations or timeline jumps.
Rifts.
And this is and so this started before people started noticing these strange things like the Mandela effect. So there's multiple Mandela effects that a lot of people have noticed. And let me talk about a few. The most well-known ones there's a handful, but I mean, there's a handful that a lot of people know about, like the Bernstein Bears. Is it Bernstein, Bernstein Bears, the cartoon bears, or is it Bernstein, Bernstein? Well, you probably grew up thinking it was Bernstein, Stein. It's not, it's Bernstein. So that's a kind of a light one, like, well, I don't know. I sort of remembered it being Bernstein, but when I look at the books that I have now from my daughter, that we used to read her those books, and it does say Bernstein. Okay, so I see that and I think, all right, well, that's a little bit weird, but there's a couple more of these that I think are even more stranger. So let's get into a couple. The first one is a pretty famous one. The mascot on the world famous Monopoly board game is the guy wearing, what does he look like? Is he wearing, the important thing is, I'll get right to the chase. Is he wearing a monocle, a single eyeglass? What do you think, Wendy?
I think, yes, I'm picturing him dressed in black and white, kind of perky and impudent, and with the monocle. I think there might be a tiny bit of red on it. That's my vision of it.
Here's a
played Monopoly in years.
Let me show you a picture of it.
Okay.
The real one is on the left. He does not have a monocle. So that's kind of strange, right? Why did you think, and I did too, why did you think he had a monocle? I don't know. That's kind of weird, isn't it? A lot of people remember him as having a monocle, and he doesn't.
So maybe it's some sort of association. And it sounds like there can be just really a rift going on, alternate timelines going on within the collective consciousness.
Right. That's what people are talking about.
Right.
That's what we're getting at here. So that's kind of interesting. Now, I'm picking the ones that are the most common, where it's kind of like, all right, I can kind of hang my hat on that one because I swear to God, that guy had a monocle. Why would I think that he had a monocle? I don't know. I guess all rich tycoons have a top hat, a monocle, and a cane, right?
Right.
I thought he had a cane too, by the way. I thought he had a cane, but anyway.
Interesting. Yeah, and cultural would come into this a lot then too, because of just different associations.
Right. So the next one is, what is the name of the breakfast cereal that features the Toucan Sam mascot?
Is that Fruit Loops?
It is. How do you spell Fruit Loops?
Is it FROOTLOOPS?
Yes, it is.
I just read it off the box.
Oh, you have one in your house?
I do not. I have
No.
not touched this cereal or seen this cereal in years, but I do have a photographic memory. So I closed my eyes to try and read it. And when I tried to read Bernstein Bears, I had an E in it. It was interesting.
So that's pretty fascinating. All right, so you're right about the Fruit Loops. That's the one on the right, FROOT, and there's Fruit Loops as the O's. Right. And also both of the O's, in the fruit and then in the loops. So that's how it really is. That one, I don't know. I don't remember that one so much. I thought it was, this one doesn't mean much to me. I don't remember much about this one, but the next one is another one of those, like the monocle in the Monopoly guy. Does Curious George, the book character, with his friend, the man in the yellow hat, does Curious George have a tail or not? What does your photographic memory say, Wendy?
I'm reading the book to my kids. I don't think he had a tail.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. That was another one. So all the true ones are on the right. So they put a fake tail in just to show you what it looks like. That one, I just thought it was strange that they would have a monkey without a tail.
That is odd.
Right.
To save time and illustrate.
I don't know. But
are we paid by the inch here?
It seems strange that there's a monkey with a tail in a book about a monkey. So everything else is normal, but
that's funny.
Curious George doesn't have a tail. And then the final one is this is the mind blower. You remember Ed McMahon in the 1970s and 80s? He was a spokesman for a certain company where he would go around and there would be a big sweepstakes. He'd ring the doorbell of the winner. He'd have a giant check and he would give it. What was the name of the company that he worked for?
Trying to remember the commercials and picturing him doing that. Was that Publishers Clearinghouse?
No.
Okay.
That's what I thought too. And that one I would have bet $1 million on. Publishers Clearinghouse is another company. He did not work for them. He worked for American Family Publishers. I mean, does this bend your mind?
I don't remember that name at all.
Right. I don't either. How
that brand is not working.
No, that doesn't make any sense to me. That bounces off. So I would have bet I would have lost whatever, any bets I would have made about Ed McMahon working for Publishers.
Right. I wonder if Publishers Clearinghouse is more well-known or if it's generational, because you and I are similar age.
Yeah, I don't know, but I swear that he worked for them. That's a pretty strange one.
That is odd.
That's all part of the Mandela stuff. So, what's our conclusion here, Wendy? I mean, what do you think about this?
I think memory is an imperfect thing that does its very best to serve us. It can be accurate, but accuracy is always based on our own filters and experience and bias, even though we try not to be biased. I think there can be some suggestibility, and it does depend on the personality. So I think just again getting like as grounded and clear as we can in our own energy. I do think there's lots of alternate timelines going on. So I think just getting to know our own truth is where we need to be going.
Yeah, I'm landing somewhere in that area too, where I think there's
Your
something.
thoughts.
I think there's something to the Mandela effect. I'm not taking it wholesale, and I think there has been a lot of suggestibility once the idea was presented that there is a possibility of timeline shifting and Mandela effect things going on. I've seen. The reason I only brought up 4 examples is because there's literally dozens and dozens, and most of them I think those are bunk. It's just people now making stuff up, or thinking or blaming things on the Mandela effect, like, oh, it was a Mandela effect. So, but the ones that really got me were the Monopoly guy and the Ed McMahon thing. That and the Bernstein Bears a little bit. That I can't explain that. That seems really strange. And when you look at what's going on with the Hadron Collider in Switzerland, like I think there might be something going on with creating shifts.
I could hear Mother Earth as clear as day when you were showing that photo and talking about that. She's not pleased.
No, I
She's
didn't.
not happy. She was trying to be humorous, but I could hear her shouting. I think this is an old commercial. You can't fool Mother Nature.
Right. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature, right?
Commercial or something.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like fracking. She does not appreciate fracking.
No.
And she does not appreciate it's too much. It's not wise, it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I think we are really getting in the soup because she's got to cool herself off. And global warming and climate change, this is not a political statement. It's a documented scientific reality. And I don't think things like the collider are helpful. Why are we not putting the dollars into looking for safe, sane ways, or are we? And I'm simply ignorant, and I'd love to know and hear that we are in ways to alleviate the heat and what that's causing because we know the history of planets becoming inhabitable because they become too hot.
Well, stopping the pollution, it's the amount of plastics, the amount of toxins in our water and air. That's I'm with you 100%.
Right.
So yeah, it's disrespectful to the earth, and
I think it's dangerous. I think
deforestations and things like that. So anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna put our final slide up here, Wendy, and we're going to talk, before we wrap up and talk about our next broadcast and everything. I have a little surprise for you.
Okay.
A photo that was taken on August 3rd, which is what's today. So that was
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. And took it with my own camera. I was driving. I work. My office is in one town over, and I was driving from my office back to my house, and this is what I saw.
Oh, oh,
seen those, right?
What a ship.
Lenticular clouds.
Wow.
Right above where I live. Yeah.
Wow. That's a really, really clear shot.
Yeah.
So obviously you're open, Gregg, to the possibility of this being whatever the correct term is nowadays, unidentified flying object. I see it as an ET ship. But the fact that you could see it and capture it that clearly, it just means you've got an open belief system. This is maybe like the Mandela effect. You might have had someone sitting right in the same car with you saying, I don't see it. What are you talking about? Weird cloud. If they're not open to it, it's not going to be there.
Right.
Similar to the Mandela effect.
Right. Right. So
that's amazing. That's an amazing shot.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to, for our listening and viewing audience, especially viewing audience, because obviously you got to see this too.
It's flying low and it's big.
Yeah, it's huge. It was maybe a mile wide. Anyway, we want to invite any listeners or watchers to send us. You go to our website, wakingupspiritually.com, click the contact link. We would love to see your photos that you've taken of any paranormal experiences that you have, that you can authenticate, and just basically authenticating by saying, I took this picture. You know, if you can corroborate that, we would love, because we've done 2 episodes of paranormal experiences with videos and photographs and so forth. So we would love to do another one. So we would like to start collecting now. I'll include this one in it, but I just want to do a little preview and have some fun with Wendy. But and Wendy mentioned she's got a shot that she'd like to share too. So please send us your photos, your videos. It's always worked out really well. We'd love to have your stuff. So with that said, come and join us. Yeah,
so please join us on September 11th. But before that, I forgot to do a slide. If you are hearing this broadcast real time or before Wednesday, the 23rd, I'm offering a life purpose workshop. It's a complimentary workshop. It's going to be at 4 o'clock Pacific time. Just go to my website, which is wendyrosewilliams.com. I did one about 6 weeks ago, and just so many people said that was helpful. That was a big deal for me. So I'm offering it again. Please just go to the website and sign up for it at no cost. And I'd love to help you learn more about what your purpose is, or just feel more comfortable with what your purpose is, or being able to feel you can get the resources to live your purpose if you're feeling frustrated in that area. And then please join us September 11th. That date is purposefully selected, and we'd like to help lift up any of that heavy energy that still might be existing for Americans or for people elsewhere in the world around September 11th for the next Waking Up Spiritually podcast. Join us in our Facebook group, which is Waking Up Spiritually. Just put that into the search on Facebook, and join us via our website, which is wakingupspiritually.com. And then if you click on the broadcast link, and as Gregg said, you can then search by topic. I didn't even know that. Thank you for all your work on the website, Gregg. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which has an unpronounceable name. So go in and search, as Gregg said. At some point, based on subscribership, we'll get to rename it. We'll hopefully get to put Waking Up Spiritually on it. Rate and review us on Apple iTunes or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Please visit Gregg at his website and just enjoy what he has to offer, whether it's his book, The Gratitude Curve, whether it's a fire circle, whether it's doing a session with him. Sessions with him are always amazing, and you will be surprised and uplifted how you can change your life in 30 to 45 minutes. I always enjoy doing a session with Gregg. Please visit me at my website, which is wendyrosewilliams.com, and you can come in for those complimentary workshops. You can find my books available, and you can also find how to work with me for the series of 3 in-depth energy healing sessions where we will get you into tip-top shape. And someone said to me, it was like going from being like a broken down little underpowered 1950s VW bug, and now I feel like a Maserati. Like I can do what I came to do, and it's like so much easier and so much more ease and grace to it. And I just thought that was a lovely, lovely way to put it. So
very nice.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you all.
See you next month. Bye-bye.
Yeah.